Let's move into the service, willing to be authentic with each other, honest within ourselves, and opening to connection in all its forms.
Our opening words this morning are from Seth Carrier Ladd. Wind that whispers through the willow trees, sun that sustains us, water that washes over willing earth and weathered stones, a smile shared and savored, a child's squeal of delight as she dances in the daisies and the daffodils, the quiet joy of gathered community. This is the spirit of life and love that we call forth into this gathering. May this spirit infuse our hearts, fill our souls, and carry us forward like a wave on the ocean as we enter now into this sacred time and space. Come, let us gather together.
We light our chalice this morning with these words from Christian Schmidt and Alexis Capen. We light this chalice for our children and youth and for us, celebrating the flame of faith lit in each of us, honoring the light each of us bring into the world, rejoicing in the community we create together. As is our tradition, we also light a candle in solidarity with those families separated at our southern border. Our opening hymn number 338 in the gray hymnal, I seek the spirit of a child. One of the ways that we proclaim the warmth and caring of our community is by sharing our joys, concerns, and milestones. If you are joining us virtually, we invite you to type your joy, concern, or milestone in the YouTube chat box. We invite those in person to, one at a time, drop a pebble into our communal bowl during the music for meditation. Thank you. Thank you to all who share their joys, concerns, and milestones this morning. These joys and concerns were submitted in advance for sharing.
Hopefully, you've all seen the email and the Facebook posts by now, but Eddie Peak passed away this past Thursday at East Alabama Medical Center. We don't have a lot of answers for why Eddie went downhill so fast, but I know my heart goes out to you, Dan, and I know everyone else joins me as well. And we honor Eddie this morning with a stone in our water. We are currently planning the memorial service for Saturday afternoon, or for Saturday, October 16th. I will announce the time and any rain plans we have in the future, but the plan is for it to be here on the grounds of the fellowship, as we know Eddie would have wanted.
May all the joys, concerns, and milestones of this community, those shared aloud and those held in silence, be received into the care and concern of all present.
Friends and family, we have been brought together by a joyous occasion to recognize and welcome a child into this world and circle of love. Every day that a child is born is a blessing, an opportunity to recognize the power of love, a day to give thanks for the beauty of the earth, a day to recognize no one is brought up alone, and that every person is a blessing to the world. Welcome to this circle of love as we work to dedicate ourselves and each other to the care and tending of our children. We recognize all who have gathered here now and those who are away from us in distance and time. We honor the ancestors who have left this world, but not our hearts, and we welcome them here in our minds. We begin with a poem from the poet Hafez. What is the root of these words? One thing, love. But a love so deep and sweet, it needed to express itself with scents, sounds, colors that never before existed. Isaac McNeely and Amy Perry, would you come forward, please? Who do you bring to this gathered community?
Everett McNeely.
Are you ready to dedicate Everett to this world?
We are.
Will you promise to care for Everett, love Everett with all your heart and soul? Will you raise Everett to love justice and live with compassion? Will you extend to Everett kindness and courage? And will you encourage Everett to live his dreams?
We will.
I welcome Nina and Basil McNeely, Everett's grandparents, into our circle. Will you promise to care for Everett, love Everett with all your heart and soul? Will you raise Everett to love justice and live with compassion? Will you extend to Everett kindness and courage? And will you encourage Everett to live his dreams?
We will.
I welcome Penelope McNeely, Everett's sister, into the circle. I've got a question for you, Penelope. Will you promise to love your brother Everett, to play with him? And will you grow up with Everett and be his friend and teach him about the wonders of life?
Yes.
Awesome. To the members and friends of AUUF and others assembled, as well as online, will you promise to care for Everett? Will you help to raise Everett to love justice and live with compassion? Will you extend to Everett kindness and courage? And will you encourage Everett to live his dreams? If you will, please say or type, "We will."
We will.
Let us bless Everett with the wonders of the earth. Everett, this is water. May you always find your thirst quenched. May you know the joy of hard work. May your tears be cared for. May you dance in rain and jump in pools and puddles. Everett, you are water. Everett, this is air. May your lungs be full of fresh, sweet air. May you know the joy of a good laugh. May you find your voice through song, whispers, and shrieks. May you have a life full of scent, breezes, and sighs. Everett, you are air. Everett, this is fire. May it remind you of the divine spark of all creation that is in you. May it inspire your love and commitment for justice. May you be kept warm by the community around you. May all your days be bright. Everett, you are fire. Everett, this is a flower made from the earth. May you know that the earth provides all you need. May everywhere you go be blessed by your presence. May all your work be a blessing to the world. May all you do bring joy to the world. Everett, you are the earth. Friends, it is with great joy that I present to you another gift to this world, a blessing to us, all of us, and a joy to all who meet this child, Everett Blake McNeely. Thank you all. Please join me in the spirit of meditation in whatever way feels right with these words from Connie P. Sternberg. As today we have received this child into the congregation and committed ourselves to their nurture, let us now receive into our hearts all children. Let us remember the children we once were and who still live within us. Let us love them now in this quiet moment. Let us remember the children of our own families and the children of our friends. Let us love them now in the quiet of this moment. Let us remember the children who are homeless, children who are separated from their families, children who are hungry and in pain, children whose lives are threatened by drugs, crime, and lack of health care. Let us love them now in the quiet of this moment. Let us remember all children and commit ourselves to their growth and safety, their health and education, their uniqueness and their unfolding beauty. Let us love them now in the quiet of this moment and forevermore. Blessed be.
The light of our chalice would soon flicker and die without the oil that nourishes its flame. And just as the flame cannot burn without oil, this religious community cannot survive or thrive without the financial as well as personal support of its members and friends. The oil that keeps the flame of our liberal religious faith alive and fuels the shared mission and ministry of this fellowship. Let's now give freely and generously as an offering to sustain and strengthen our shared religious community, a community of memory, hope, faith, and love. For we are now the keepers of its flame that burns for justice, its dream of beloved community, its vision of a world made whole. To make a donation online via PayPal, please visit auuf.org/donate. If you are writing a check, please make your check payable to AUUF with a note on the memo line about whether it is for the offering or your pledge, and drop it in the offering bowl or mail it to P.O. Box 669, Auburn, Alabama. Zip code 36831. The offering will now be gratefully received.
I seek the spirit of a child who breathes like naturally, the child who sings the world away, and breathes the morning sun with me. Children are real beyond the world. Joys that get to our heart. They sing the freedom of a child who loves and secretly provides our day with justice and shines that light of only sleep. Children are real beyond our fears. May us see hopes and vent to our tears. I seek the wonder of a child who sees behind the ring, and mounting round the golden sun, imaginations new and free. Children are real beyond the bounds. May us see grace that get to our hearts.
A reading from Patrick T. O'Neill. Among the most accomplished and fabled tribes of Africa, no tribe was considered to have warriors more fearsome or more intelligent than the mighty Maasai. It is perhaps surprising then to learn that the traditional greeting that passed between Maasai warriors, Kaserian Ingera, one would always say to another. It means, "And how are the children?" It is still the traditional greeting among the Maasai, acknowledging the high value that the Maasai always place on their children's well-being. Even warriors with no children of their own would always give the traditional answer: all the children are well. Meaning, of course, that peace and safety prevail, that the priorities of protecting the young, the powerless, are in place. That Maasai society has not forgotten its reason for being, its proper functions and responsibilities. All the children are well means that life is good. It means that the daily struggles for existence, do not preclude proper caring for their young. I wonder how it might affect our consciousness of our own children's welfare if in our culture we took to greeting each other with this daily question: and how are the children? I wonder if we heard that question and passed it along to each other a dozen times a day, if it would begin to make a difference in the reality of how children are thought of or cared about in our own community and country. I wonder if every adult among us, parents and non-parent alike, felt an equal weight for the daily care and protection of all the children in our community, in our town, in our state, in our country. I wonder if we could truly say without any hesitation, the children are well. Yes, all the children are well. What would it be like if the minister began every worship service by answering the question, and how are the children? If every town leader had to answer the question at the beginning of every meeting, and how are the children? Are they well? Are they all well? Wouldn't it be interesting to hear their answers? What would it be like? I wonder.
Our reading this morning told the story of the Maasai people of Africa who, despite being fierce warriors, are tender and nurturing towards their children. The idea of greeting one another with the phrase, "and how are the children," tells just what feelings they attach to the next generation, the young ones who will one day replace them. Finding it in their heart to be tender towards these little ones. The fact that this salutation is repeated multiple times a day must be a reminder to be mindful of just how important they are to their continued existence. The response is equally telling. All the children are well, meaning that peace and safety prevail, that the priorities of protecting the young, the powerless, are in place. Isn't that fascinating? As long as the children are healthy, the rest of the tribe is whole. There's a sense that the good life comes from the children themselves, from the knowledge that there will be someone to carry on the work of the people. They will not truly die because their children will carry on their work. There's power in this idea that children change the fabric of community simply by existing. A new generation means continued possibility of living our lives, of being a shining beacon towards a better way, towards the possibility of beloved community. As long as there are babies, there is a possibility that maybe tomorrow might be better than today. That we might yet live into a world drastically different than the one we currently live in. Babies are the promise of a new way, if we are willing to lean into the reality they offer. In the words of Unitarian Universalist, a Unitarian Universalist loved poet Carl Sandburg, a baby is God's opinion that the world should go on. I love the first verse of We Are, the song that played during our prelude this morning. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. I wonder if you've ever heard that hymn and thought about what it means. Each child is a morning star, a harbinger of the sunrise dispelling the dark of the evening. The morning is a promise, a predictable cycle that reminds us that no matter what life throws at us, there will always be hope in the new morning. Some have rightfully called children miracles because they are formed out of the genetic material of their parents, unique beings without equal who will never be repeated on earth. For each child that's born, there's a reminder that there's still hope and possibility in the world, still the chance to set a new path forward. The birth of a child is a sacred reminder that even if darkness has seemed to overtake our lives and our world, there's still the possibility of redemption around the corner, of charting a new way forward. Just as in the Christian scriptures, a morning star led the Magi to the baby Jesus, I believe that each child can guide us towards a new way of being that offers an aspiration towards what may be. They are, in the words of the hymn, our grandmother's prayers and our grandfather's dreamings. The hope for a new tomorrow. The consequence for highly communalistic societies like the Maasai is that they see child rearing not only as work for the mother and the father, but as a full community. In the 90s, Hillary Clinton was mocked for repeating the African proverb, "It takes a village to raise a child." But there's some truth in it. Even as we dedicate a new part of our community this morning, each of us will have a role in creating a place that will nurture him through the coming years, just as we've cared for so many children before us. Some of us might do so in formal ways, but even those who don't will be charged with making this the most welcoming possible congregation that will let him know every day of his life that he is loved, cared for, and held in the loving arms of community. This day, we engaged in our child dedication ritual with Isaac, Amy, Penelope, Everett, and their family. And just so, AUUF, as a spiritual community, is also rededicating ourselves to creating a place where this young child will always know he's loved. This is why Unitarian Universalists so often see child dedication as a communal function, because we recognize that by bringing a child into our extended community, we're irreparably changing our community, and it becomes part of our responsibility, perhaps even offering us hope to go on. This is my charge to you. Though Everett will learn from people in this community, I want all of you to learn from him and our other children as well. I think the great prophets Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young knew what they were talking about when they combined the lyrics, "Teach your children well," with "Teach your parents well." He has infinite possibilities ahead for him, and his personality will be shaped for the rest of his life by factors too numerous to be aware of, watching him and other children. For one, babies can teach us to look at the world with innocence and wonder. They haven't yet learned to fear what they don't understand, and there's nothing in the world they're bored with. I dare you to give your keys to a baby and see if they're bored. They want to understand everything, to meet everyone, to fill their little heads with as much knowledge as they can. They ask a lot of questions, some of which may sound funny to us, but all of which are based on a deep desire to find out how the world works, which, combined with the nurturing they receive from others in their lives, is the foundation of their development of their sense of self in the world. At some point, most of us lose this sense of innocence and wonder to one degree or another. I know I did. Learning what were good and bad questions, what was the right way to be, how to be normal in the world. What would it be like if we could recover this curiosity we had in childhood? To not be afraid to ask questions, to continue to find new ways of being. I suspect not only would we have the potential to transform the world, but we might just live our daily lives with more awe and amazement in our lives if we could seek more knowledge simply for the joy of having it as we did as children. As we bless Everett and his family this morning, may we rededicate ourselves to the tasks ahead, to building beloved community that welcomes all, and may we learn from the children as much as they learn from us, that their presence may be a blessing. And may we truly answer that the children are well. Let's try. How are the children?
The children are well.
May it be so. Our closing hymn is How Could Anyone Ever Tell You?
Please join me in extinguishing our chalice. You will find the words in your order of service.
We extinguish this flame,
But not the light of youth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please be our guest today after the service for our coffee hour here. This is an opportunity to check in with folks about the service and how their week has gone or weeks have gone. As we move into coffee hour, please help our volunteers by bringing your chair to the Bush Center. If you are not signed up for our email list, please make sure to do so to receive updates about ways to connect. You can find information on signing up at our website, auuf.org/subscribe. Please join us now for our sung benediction.
Go forth into the world in peace, in peace. Be of good courage, hold fast that which is good. Go forth into the world in peace, in peace. Love all people, rejoicing in the power of the Spirit. Go in peace.
Our benediction is from Kenneth L. Patton. Nothing is strange to the child for whom everything is new. Where all things are new, nothing is novel. The child does not know what belongs and what does not. Therefore, for her, all things belong. The ear of the child is open to all music, his eyes open to all arts, her mind open to all tongues, his being open to all manners. In the child's country there are no foreigners. Now this is the day. Our child, into the daylight, you go outstanding, preparing for the day. Our child, it is your day, this day. May your road be fulfilled, in your thoughts may we live. May we be the ones whom your thoughts will embrace. May you help us finish our roads. Amen. Blessed be, and go in peace.